South Africa's budget crisis. Mbalula calls out DA and business sector over new tensions. South Africa's Government of National Unity (GNU) is facing one of its most significant tests since its formation. A heated standoff over the 2025-26 national budget has sparked sharp political rhetoric, institutional unease, and economic anxiety. At the center of the storm is African National Congress (ANC) Secretary-General Fikile Mbalula, who has taken aim at both the Democratic Alliance (DA) and elements of the business community, accusing them of undermining the GNU's mandate and the country's democratic gains. The impasse centers around disagreements within the GNU over key budget proposals, chief among them a controversial 2% increase in the value-added tax (VAT). The increase is being considered as a last resort measure to stabilize the country's dire fiscal position. Mbalula has stressed that South Africa has effectively exhausted its borrowing capacity, making new revenue streams essential to avoid a financial collapse. According to Mbalula, 61 cents of every rand in the proposed budget would be spent on social support and public services directed at the most vulnerable. He says this reflects the ANC's ongoing commitment to uplifting historically disadvantaged communities. He accuses the DA of opposing the budget not out of genuine fiscal concern, but as part of a broader agenda to preserve white economic privilege and obstruct transformation efforts. The DA, a key partner in the GNU formed after the 2024 general election yielded no outright winner, has rejected the proposed VAT increase and aspects of the budget that it claims are fiscally irresponsible. However, the ANC sees the DA's resistance as not only obstructionist but also ideologically driven. Mbalula said the DA's opposition seeks to undermine democratic progress and prevent the redistribution of resources necessary to bridge South Africa's vast inequality. Tensions within the GNU. The tensions within the GNU reflect the broader ideological divides among the coalition's members. While the ANC continues to push for transformative fiscal policies focused on social upliftment, the DA favors market-friendly, fiscally conservative approaches. These divisions were always going to be a challenge in a coalition government comprising parties with sharply different worldviews. Mbalula warned that the ANC is not beholden to the GNU and has alternatives if coalition partners decide to leave. This was seen by some as a veiled warning to the DA and other parties that the ANC could seek alternative coalitions or minority rule arrangements. Mbalula emphasized that the government will not collapse if certain members walk away from the GNU. This signaled a readiness by the ANC to assert its authority, even at the risk of destabilizing the coalition. He also cautioned against political grandstanding, urging new partners to act in the national interest rather than seeking short-term political gains. He said the delays caused by the budget dispute are already impacting governance and public confidence. Business sectors. Erratic response. Mbalula also criticized elements of the business community, describing their reaction to the budget impasse as erratic. He implied that some business leaders are selectively siding with DA positions without recognizing the broader socio-economic imperatives faced by government. His comments follow strong criticism from Business Leadership South Africa, BLSA, which has warned that the budget delays are damaging investor sentiment and eroding business confidence. Busisiwe Mavuso, CEO of BLSA, expressed concern that the continued uncertainty around the budget creates an impression of instability and poor governance. She called on the GNU to act with unity and urgency to deliver a budget that promotes sustainable growth and restores economic confidence. Mbalula responded by reaffirming that while the ANC values the role of business in economic development, it cannot allow fiscal policies to be dictated by market pressures alone. He insisted that business leaders must also recognize their responsibility in addressing inequality and historical injustice. Fiscal reality. No easy options. South Africa's fiscal position has become increasingly fragile. With low growth, rising debt servicing costs, and widespread poverty, the country faces difficult choices. Mbalula emphasized that raising VAT is not a preferred solution, but rather a reluctant one necessitated by the fiscal cliff the country is approaching. He also acknowledged public concern about the regressive nature of VAT, since it disproportionately affects the poor, but noted that alternative revenue options are limited. Borrowing more, he warned, is not sustainable. This places the GNU in a difficult position. Either raise taxes, cut spending, or face a sovereign debt crisis. Efforts to find a compromise have so far been unsuccessful, with the DA refusing to support a VAT hike unless there are significant cuts to what it describes as wasteful public spending. However, ANC-aligned economists argue that many of the so-called wasteful expenditures are in fact critical services and social support mechanisms. Political stakes and national implications. The budget impasse is not just a financial issue, it is a political litmus test for the GNU. It reveals deep structural tensions within the coalition and raises questions about its long-term viability. If the GNU cannot agree on the budget, it risks a constitutional crisis, as the passing of a national budget is a non-negotiable function of government. There is also the risk that political instability will spill over into the broader economy. Markets dislike uncertainty, and the current deadlock could trigger ratings downgrades or capital outflows if not resolved swiftly. Analysts note that this moment is crucial for President Cyril Ramaphosa's leadership. He must broker a compromise between the ANC's social justice agenda and the DA's fiscal conservatism while also managing public expectations and maintaining the credibility of the GNU. Public perception and the 2026 election horizon. With municipal elections looming in 2026, political parties are keenly aware that the budget debate will shape public perception. The ANC is seeking to position itself as the defender of the poor and working class, while the DA is appealing to middle class and business constituencies demanding tighter fiscal discipline. Public trust in the GNU project is on the line. Many South Africans are watching the unfolding drama with skepticism, fearing that the coalition may collapse under the weight of its contradictions. If the GNU fails to pass the budget or disbands, it could trigger early elections or a reconfiguration of power in parliament, outcomes that could further unsettle an already fragile political landscape. Conclusion. The 2025-26 budget crisis represents a major turning point in South Africa's post-2024 political era. Fikile Mbalula's sharp rebuke of the DA and elements of the business community reflects the high stakes and deep divisions shaping this moment. Whether the GNU can navigate this impasse will determine not just the fate of the current government, but also the trajectory of South Africa's democratic and economic future. A resolution will require compromise, vision, and a shared commitment to national development. If the GNU can survive this challenge, it could emerge stronger. If it fails, it may mark the end of coalition politics as we know it in South Africa.